Hey everybody, it's your girl Saying the Locs Lady. I just wanted to make a quick video for you guys. I had someone send me a request to make a video to talk about the no retwist challenge. And this is professional advice, you guys. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, I'm a professional loctician. I've built 4 clienteles in 3 different cities, and I've been doing locks for over 20 years. So just to let you know, I am a professional. I have over 125 clients, and just wanted to kind of weigh in on the popular no retwist challenge that some people in the locks community are participating in or thinking about. So if you're thinking about it, this might be a helpful video for you. I might be a little isolated in my own little world with my clients, so I've been able to get a really good, clear reason for why people are doing it. But maybe you guys can comment, put your reasons for why you're thinking about it or why you did it in the comments. Anyway, let me see. I made a couple of notes to myself so I don't forget anything. Firstly, let me say that this is not in any way addressing freeform, also known as neglect method locks. The advice that I give is strictly for people who are wearing traditionally formed palm roll locks, known in some circles as fashion locks. So for for people who wear dreadlocks who want them to be well groomed, look manicured, parted evenly, made to look intentionally the same size, this is the advice that I give. Okay, so that's what you'll always find on my channel. So now that we've established that, let's talk about what regular locks maintenance actually does for your locks. It cleans the locks of odors from sweat, smoke, food smells, anything else that you're exposed to. So we all know if you wear locks, or even if you just wear braids, if you're around people who are smoking or if someone's like frying fish or something like that, pretty much anything that has a smell can get stuck in your locks. So washing your hair regularly, when I say regularly, I mean most of my clients come to me about every 3 weeks to a month. So it cleans the locks of odors from sweat, smoke, food smells, anything else they're exposed to. Okay. Next thing is it frees your locks of dirt, excess. Let me see what I might be leaving out. Excess oil, because a lot of people oil their locks between getting it done. Dead skin from your scalp. Pet fur, if you got pets that like to, curl up on you, lay on your locks. Dirt, dust, pollen, foreign substances from work. I know some people work in like steel plants. Some people work with yarn. There's a lot of manufacturing going on in my town. So when I have clients come in, I always pick any lint that I see out of their locks, any pet fur, little shreds of wood, like people work outdoors in yards and things like that. So when you get your hair washed, it takes care of all of that. And if your loctician is thorough, she should be picking that stuff out of your hair as well, just to make sure it's not in there. Because if it's in your locks and you twist it, it's just embedding it deeper down in your locks, okay? Getting your locks done regularly keeps your locks separate. So if your locks were done properly, if they were started off properly, each one of the hairs on your head belongs to a lock, okay? Each hair belongs to a lock. So when it grows out, your natural curl pattern will push it out to go its own way. Like, it'll just form an afro if you leave it alone, right? So when your hair starts to push out and go its own way, it can easily marry or mat into the lock right next to it. So you can end up with what I call fro locks. So you got a whole afro under the bottom of your hair, and then you got dreadlocks on top of that. So over time, that can become really painful to separate. And, and for some people, that's okay. If you don't mind your locks matting together and having 3 and 4 locks, connected together, and you got one big fat root, you don't care that it's like, your roots are different sizes. That does impact your ability to style your hair in different ways. So if you got a bunch of skinny locks and then you got a big old fat lock, it's going to be pretty difficult to part it the way you want to over time. And my clients particularly, they haven't been a real big fan of that. So I tell them, don't wait too long between getting your hair done. But if you're considering a no retwist challenge, just know that comes along with it, okay? Next thing is it reinforces the lock. So you can think of your lock as a rope of a certain number of hairs. Say you got 150 hairs in each lock. So each one of those individual hairs can be really fragile. You know, it can be weak. You know, it could take something as minor as you scratching your hair really hard. And you have a hair get caught in your nail. That hair is gone until it grows back long enough for the hair to be attached into your lock. So imagine if, say your hair, you know, your hair sheds every day. You do lose a certain number of hairs, but it's still caught up in your lock. When that hair grows back in, you know, you want to make sure, like when you get your hair done regularly, that your loctician, or if you're doing your own, make sure that that hair is getting stretched out along the length of the lock. And it helps to reinforce the lock. So just like a rope is nearly indestructible or unbreakable unless you cut it, right? Because it's twisted together, and more hairs together, twisted together, and a lock makes it strong. Okay? Let me see. If it's retwisted properly, it stretches the new growth out along the lock and keeps it attached to the lock. So, of course, if you're not getting it done regularly, as your hair sheds, and that hair curls up on the scalp level, it's not stretched out along with the lock. So, as many hairs as you got rolled up at the scalp level, your lock is that less strong, if that makes sense. Or it can be that much weaker. Okay? So you got less hair supporting the weight of each lock. The next thing is it shows the length of your hair. So when you let your roots mat up on their own together, it's not stretched out. So your hair could be like growing by leaps and bounds, but you can't really tell because it's all curled up at your scalp. So you can think about the difference between how a slinky looks when it's just sitting on the table or in your hand compared to when you stretch it out. Your hair, you know, that curl pattern in your hair looks kind of like a slinky. So if you stretch it out, man, you can stretch that thing out for feet. But if you just let it sit all together, it looks like it's like 5 or 6 inches, however tall a slinky is. So it shows the length of your hair when you have your hair washed. So, of course, now it's wet. It has more elasticity. You stretch it out along with the length of all of that new growth hair. And then you twist it so it holds it in place as it dries. And so you can really see the length of your locks, okay? Or see the length of your hair. It keeps your locks a consistent size and shape from root to tip. So when your hair is twisted properly, it trains the hair to form a nice, tight, round cylinder without lumps and bumps. When it's left on its own to mat up, it could be way thicker, you know, just because your hair, the curl pattern of your hair is all just matting together like we talked about the slinky a minute ago. Or it could be much thinner because as your hair, as that new growth hair separates from the lock, it could be much thinner because of that, or just because of hair loss to breakage or matting to nearby locks. Or when you do decide to separate them, you could be breaking hairs off, especially if your hair is on the drier side or it lacks elasticity. You're breaking hair, so now you got to wait for that hair to grow back, reattach it to the lock. So none of that's happening if you're not doing a retwist. Let's see. Talking about your locks staying a nice, consistent, round, cylindrical shape. So if you're just tying your hair down because you're doing a no retwist challenge, you're just kind of letting it wild out. If you're tying it down with a scarf or a hat, or just you laying on it to sleep, that can actually flatten out your locks, especially the larger locks. So now it's no longer round. And when you go to style it, you see all kind of little flat pieces in there. So if that's not what you want, no retwist challenge may not be for you. And let me see here. Yeah, it also helps your hair to dry faster. So if your hair is stretched out nice and straight, you know, as you're twisting it, it also helps your hair to dry faster because the water can then travel from your root and just kind of slide down your lock. And it just dries faster that way because it's not so densely matted together like it would be if you let it mat on its own. Also, it helps you to keep your, and this is the last point, but it's one of the most important ones. It helps to keep the hair and scalp conditioned and moisturized. And this is especially important if you have naturally dry hair or naturally dry scalp. So because you're not washing it, you're not restoring those nutrients to the hair that as it grows out away from your scalp. The hair that's down toward the end of your locks is not getting as much natural moisture as it would be at the scalp level because your scalp is making that sebum. So, you know, especially if you think about it in the winter months, the air is dry. So it sucks the natural moisture out of your hair. You're not replenishing it when you wash it or you're using whatever type of oils you use. But I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you would, I appreciate it if you like my video, subscribe to my channel if I'm giving you good information. In the future, I will be releasing an e-course that will teach you everything you need to know. If you're an aspiring loctician, or you're a cosmetologist and maybe you didn't get exact training on locks, that would be an excellent tool for you guys if you're interested, and that will be coming up in future videos. Thanks again for tuning in to my channel. Please like my video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments. Also, ask any questions you may have if you have particular subjects you want me to cover in a video. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video. Hope you have a great day. Go out and be blessed.